everyone. I didn't expect to be back in January already, but today we are the 23rd of January, so normally last Sunday when I upload this, and I'm in the middle of my exam period, as you all know. But tomorrow I have my Dutch exam, and on Friday I have my law and business exam, and then I finally have 2 weeks of vacation, and I need it so much. And God, the lighting is bad, so ignore that. But why I am recording this is because I finished season 1 of Das Haus Anubis last week during the evening while my boyfriend watches Big Brother, the Dutch and Belgian reality show where people get locked in a house. Most countries have a version of it. So I had more free time, and I decided that I wanted to finish season 1 of Das Haus Anubis because I started it when my boyfriend and I moved in Antwerp. I'm back at home now, well, my parental home, to study. But so I thought, let's finish it because it's been 3 to 4 months, and that's enough time, and I really wanted to get started on season 2. So yeah, I have the limited edition box, as you guys all know. So if you open it up, it's all DVDs, this little book, and a ticket that is expired for Plopslandebal. So basically, I'm going to divide this review in 2 parts, you could say, and the first part is going to be about season 1, part 1, so I have to look on the book, Der Geheimen Club der Alten Weide. So it's the first 4 DVDs. I'll show them to you, so gotta show it the other way around. So with Nina on the cover, with Daniel on the cover, the lighting is bad, I'm so sorry, with Magnus on the cover, and with Lucy on the cover. And Lucy's DVD had 2 extras, I believe. Stekbrieven, I think it's called, so little stories you could say, which gives us an explanation about the characters, which is very basic, and then also a commercial for the website, which sadly doesn't exist anymore. But yeah, I'm starting with this part because it's from episode 1 to episode 61, and it's also with AJJ, it's also with Haus Anubis. This story takes some time to get into because you introduce 8 main characters with a lot of side characters who are in a way main characters as well. Speaking about the teachers, speaking about Victor and Trudy, or Rosie in this case. So it takes some time to get used to. But one thing DAJ changed a lot compared to AJJ and HOA as well is that Nina gets treated differently when she comes to the house. So in Haus Anubis, it's going to be a lot of comparisons, sorry. So in Haus Anubis, Nienke gets treated very roughly, mainly by Patricia, and in the beginning even Amber, but at the end not the others. They were just there and they went with it, but they didn't do something themselves, except Appie, who threw, I believe, spaghetti at Nienke. But you can see the other characters telling them off to not do that, and they even apologize most of the time. That's something they didn't do in Das Haus Anubis, and that's something that very much surprises me, because what I've understood from fans who watches when it came out and who read the magazines when it came out, because I binge read them early time past year. So is that they wanted to make the characters more likable, but they aren't at all in the beginning. Like, Daniel doesn't even tell the others off when they throw water and so on at Nina. When she's crying, he doesn't go to her or something like that. So there's also never this image of him and Lucy saying something like, chill, it's been enough, you're acting like a bitch. That's never been in there, and that's something that really surprised me, you could say, because I expected him to, and I forgot he didn't. Something I really do like, though, is that they don't wait until episode 2 and 3 to show more of the main characters, because in AJJ, I don't think that's the case in AJJ, no. In AJJ, they wait with introducing Fabian, Jeroen, and... yeah, Fabian and Jeroen, I think, yeah. and Amber until the very end. Here, that isn't the case. After seeing Mara and Mick and so on, we immediately see Daniel and Jeroen with this little, Daniel and Magnus with this little hint to something that returns later about Magnus selling old homework to, well, the younger kids in school. So that's already integrated, and that's something I really liked. Then let's continue a little bit. So the story in the beginning, the very beginning, especially these 4 DVDs, is pretty much page by page the same as Haus Anubis. So that's why I always need some time in between watching AJJ and DAJ, because otherwise it's way too repetitive. I do think they changed some things in a good way, like they made it more for kids, but in a way that's, yeah, it could be less harmless. I was really young when I watched Haus Anubis. I just turned 7 a few months before it aired. And one of the things I still remember vividly being scared of and watching it and feeling a little bit traumatized back then was when Patricia slammed Amber's head into the sink in the bathroom and she was bleeding and it was this ugly gash. And when rewatching it, I knew when it was coming. But they changed it a lot. It's not really Patricia taking Amber's head and smashing her accidentally on the sink. It was really like Lucy and Delia were pushing each other. Delia slipped, she fell, but she never hit the sink. But with falling, she did slam off nail polish, which was red, and that made it look like she was bleeding, but it turned out there was nothing on her head except for, well, a rough spot from falling, but she wasn't bleeding, it was just the nail polish. That would have been a lot less traumatizing as a kid, so I get why they did that, and I think it's a positive change as well. Lucy is one of my favorite characters, while Patricia and AJJ is one of my least favorite main characters, because Lucy is still looking for Lynn, but she doesn't treat Nina like shit constantly. It's really clear she just wants her friend back. And Patricia also wanted that, but just didn't show up at time, and she was so unnecessarily mean. Also to Mara, I also like Lucy and Mara's friendship a lot more in here. Then I get on to something that always annoys me, and that's the love triangle in this season half. So we have at the beginning, Kaya and Delia are dating. They have been for, now I'm doubting if it's a year or 2 years. I think a year and a half, something like that. And I felt chemistry, even though Kaya's actor at the beginning of the show couldn't act very well, Mick's actor couldn't either, but I still felt their chemistry. And it looked like it went less to shit before they broke up like than in the original version. And I really was like, maybe they could keep them, but of course they followed the original plot and Mara got interested in him. This Mara is my favorite Mara of all the Maras. I love the actress. Even though she isn't the greatest actress, she's good. And she has this tendency of being a soft character, but still being able to be strong, which I think the other Maras miss at times, especially the Dutch version, because I hate Mara in the Dutch version, and in this version I absolutely love her. She's my favorite female character. But I do hate how she gets clearly involved here between Delia and Kaya, which is slightly different. That's one thing I disliked, and that she kept crying. And the whole thing with the pictures is something I dislike in all the versions. And it didn't get any better in this version. So yeah, then the ending of this, well, it's not really spoilers anymore. The show's been out over 10 years. But the ending is with a musical. We see Nina go back to the house. She hears Victor is going to eliminate someone. He says that to Altrichter, and then he goes back. And at the same time, we see that Lynn came to the musical. And the musical was done great, in my opinion, in this version as well. Even though the characters can't sing as good as the others did. Well, some of the others did. But yeah, so she goes back, and then we see that Frau Engel, Altrichter, and Victor, and even Luka Petkovic, so Jason, are all heaving, and that they're trying to keep her behind. But we don't know why, and that's how this season half ends. Do I have anything left to say about this season part? Maybe the fact that the acting is still quite bad. It's always been bad. And I get that it's everyone's first acting job. It wasn't this. I believe not for everyone in House of Anubis, but it also was for everyone in Haus Anubis. But I do think some actors nailed it immediately, like Marek Dumitru, who plays Magnus. So he is amazing from the get-go. Delia, in my opinion, she is different from the Ambers. I think they made her a little bit more mean here, but soft at the same time. But Franziska was amazing straight away. The others, some were good, some were a little bit worse. Like Florian Felix was also very good. But even though he made Appie, in my opinion, more likable because he's a little bit more serious than Appie, even though he likes to joke more. So I think that's really Florian's input. And then acting I really disliked in the beginning is Nina, so Christina. But like, she didn't have any acting experience. She was plucked from the street. She was put into the job in a different country, so I get it. And she does improve a lot towards the end of the season. But then Daniel, which is also called Daniel in real life, I believe. Yes, Daniel. I don't know. He reminds me of Belgian football player Kevin De Bruyne, which also annoys me because I can't stand De Bruyne. Sorry. And on the other hand, he's so monotone, and I don't feel their chemistry. And it's not really here in the first episode. It's there, but it's not as vivid. Like, he misses her, and when she's gone, and he wants to protect her. But it really gets going, you could say, in the second half of the season. And I'm going to shift to that part now. So the second half is called, and I have to check again, Das Geheimnis des Grabmals, so the secret of the tomb, if I translate it correctly. And on the DVDs you can find Delia, Felix, Kaya, and Mora. And all the extras on these DVDs are, and now I have to think because I watched them 2 days ago, you get guided through the set by Christina. You see Florian trying to scare people in Antwerp, which was very funny because he walked by where I live right now, but it was a lot different compared to now, a lot less modern. What else? You get the Stakbrieven again from the first half of the season. You get a ride-on puff from Anubis Ride, a roller coaster. You get behind the scenes from then in the music studio where they recorded the second DVD. And then, yes, you get the Suche mit uns, so the second title song from the second season music video, which was really cool. So that's the extras. Amazing. A lot of extras compared to our version or the English version, so I'm glad they did that. But let's get into it. So I told you where the season have ended. Now this season picks up immediately. So Lynn gets taken back to her parents. We're explained more than we were with Joyce and Joy that Lynn has to go in hiding to protect her parents. So we learn more that the teachers aren't necessarily evil straight away. Then at the same time, Rufus, who I didn't mention at all, but the guy who's trying to help Lucy find Lynn, turns out to be evil and kidnaps Lucy. And there's already a tone shift for me. So they go look for her, and of course a lot of stuff happens, and everybody knows that who has watched this show and the other versions. But like, Lucy seems a lot more scared of Rufus than Patricia was, because they toned it quite down a bit. Like, they made it funny in the Haus Anubis at times, and I always thought that was quite weird because being kidnapped should scare you. And it really did scare Lucy. Like, she freaked out, but most of the time she was scared. And even though there were some funny scenes, it wasn't as comedic as it was in Haus Anubis. So I like that they changed that. What I didn't like is that basically everything that happens at the house or at school while Lucy is kidnapped doesn't evolve around the mystery. So you have Kaya, who's left for his scholarship of 2 weeks, which is ridiculous, but anyway. And then Mara and Magnus get a lot closer. And Mara and Magnus is my one-true pairing, my OTP of Das Haus Anubis. But I wish it started differently. They get a lot closer, and I think you could see there was a lot of chemistry between Mark and Fereba. But then the whole thing with Mo, which is in this version the friend of Felix, is he still called Mo? Yes, is introduced. And he messed things up, and I think it really messed up the friendship between Felix and Magnus as well, because this version Magnus reacts even more heavily than Jeroen already did in the Dutch version. This whole thing isn't really in House of Anubis, so sorry for those viewers. I'm glad they didn't do it because I find it an unnecessary storyline. But anyway, then Mick returns, and around the same time, Kaya returns, and at around the same time, the club gets back Lucy, and Rufus says one final warning that she won't get rid of him that easily. In the original version, the actor returns with Zeno as well in season 2, so it is true, she never really got rid of him. For some reason, the actor wasn't available for season 3 in the German version, so he never returned, and I found it really sad because that leaves like this open plotline that could have been explored and that probably would have been explored, but yeah. What else? Then, a bit after that, the whole Schulsprecherin Wiele begins, which is the student body president election. And while the storyline annoys me in Haus Anubis, it annoys me less in Das Haus Anubis, because it's still at the forefront, but it just annoys me less because maybe the fight between Mara and Delia wasn't as intense as the fight between Mara and Amber. So yeah, maybe it's that, because I really did like the team day, even though the costumes were a little bit worse than they were in Haus Anubis. I liked the little stand they had to create, and I also liked it when, and now I have to think, when they did their speech, even though they dressed up Mara way less ridiculous than they did with the Haus Anubis Mara, because she didn't look bad, but it wasn't just a fitting outfit for that moment. Yeah, that's a little small detail. But so yeah, that keeps going on until the very end, until a few episodes before the end. So nothing really special there. And then besides that, of course, you have the main mystery. The main mystery of season 1 always seems a little bit like lucky at times. I thought in Haus Anubis as well, especially with the disc or with the Scheibe. It wasn't really explained how they figured it all out. It was just, we figure it out. It's the Stargazer. After the Stargazer, it's Corvus or Corbière, and that everything was suddenly solved. Even though I love the mystery, that always, rose a lot of questions with me. So yeah, let me think. Then the ending, I love the ending. I do think it's less scary and less impactful in Das Haus Anubis than in Haus Anubis and House of Anubis, because the stakes seem lower, even though it's pretty much a copycat from Haus Anubis. But they didn't film it as well. They didn't use music as well. They cut some scenes I found very important, like Lucy and Delia just hold on the door in the final, but in our version, or in the Dutch version, they really yell for them to hurry up. There's more tension, there's more excitement, and when then Victor and Altrich, the burst to, it's mostly end, while there was a lot of chaos in our version. And then something that really annoys me is the lack of chemistry between Christina and Daniel, because when Nina goes missing, Daniel is of course worried, but I don't feel it. And then when she comes in, he is starstruck, and he's really good at looking starstruck at her. That's the one acting quality he really has. But then the dress isn't as pretty, and then they start dancing, but it's also not in this big room because low budget, so they put it in the cafeteria or in the canteen. So it's also crammed together, and it annoys me in a way. And yeah, then they kiss. I felt no chemistry. It didn't feel the same as in the other versions. I really don't ship Danina as much as Fabina and Fabinke. And then the other characters, let me think. Magnus, they also toned down a lot. Even though he still threatens to kill Felix at a certain point, he never did it like Jeroen did to Appie. He never used slightly racial slurs, but that's also not in a way possible, as Florian is white while Ahmed is Moroccan. So you have that, and then he's also a lot kinder. You can see him that he's more scared, that he isn't doing this purely out of I want that. He's in fact really scared, and it shows through more in his character. Even though both actors are great, I just think they changed the way they wrote the characters a bit, because he's a really mean character and they toned that down a lot in here. Oh yes, the villains. You could say the main villains this season are the society, who turns out not to be villains, Victor, who is only a semi-villain, because if they didn't lead him to the treasure, he wouldn't have found it out. Same you could say for Altrichter, but I think they really toned down his character compared to Van Swieten. Then you have Rufus, who solved around episode 70, and then you have Zeno, who is in it since episode 36 or something like that, because I see him at Sarah's retirement home, but he's never really brought into it as much until very end, when Magnus contacts him. And I do think the actor of Zeno is a really good actor, but he doesn't scare me as much as the AJJ character does, because that actor, who passed away sadly last year, was really scary. I don't know how, but he was really scary. While Zeno Trabas is still this well-manicured, proper man, while Zeno Terpstra was just this horrific historian. So yeah, he scares me less, but he's an amazing actor and he does his job correctly. And I also really, really like the enemy, slightly anti-hero vibe between Magnus and Zeno. And the fact that he'll be back, but we all know what happened in season 2. So yeah, I really do like that. And so to conclude, I'm going to rate the season as a whole. I would give it a 7, which could be a low score, but believe me, season 2 it goes way up. But the acting is a little bit off still. They aren't in their characters really yet. It's too much copy paste. Like, you can remake it, but it doesn't have to be the same word for word. I didn't feel the main ship chemistry, so that always annoys me, even though the other ships are pretty much good when it comes to chemistry. Even the teachers have chemistry. And yeah, just the story as a whole, I don't rate season 1 of Haus Anubis that high either. I honestly think that Haus of Anubis season 1 is the best season 1 of all the shows, even the spin-off, so yeah. So that's a little my conclusion. Will I watch season 2 straight away? Yes. I was originally planning to watch season 3 of Haus of Anubis at the same time, because I finished season 1 and season 2 last year. But season 3 is a lot of difficulty. Need to watch it on my USB because the DVD player doesn't play them, and it's a bit too difficult at my other place. So I will watch it eventually again, because I love season 3 of Haus Anubis. But for now, I will continue watching season 2 of Das Haus Anubis. I already put the DVD in my suitcase to start watching it again tonight. And yeah, I don't know when I will find the time to do a review again, because I usually binge a show a lot and I have a little break and binge it again per DVD, you could say. So it will probably be around, again, 3 to 4 months. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I thank you very much for watching. I hope you still don't mind the lack of content because of my exams, but they're over soon, and then I have a little bit of a more normal period until May, June again. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you for following, for commenting, for liking my content, and I'll see you next time. Bye!